Hello to all fans of Naruto Lemon. I will post all Naruto Lemon Yaoi, Yuri, or Naruto Lemon stories only on the Boosty channel because Uncle YouTube condemns this. Therefore, I invite everyone who wants Naruto Lemon content to my Boosty channel. Good luck.
お前はどこまで見えている俺死に様か
My story. Chapter 1, Awakening the Divine Eye. At dawn in Konoha village, a light mist hung over the rooftops when 6-year-old Naruko awoke with a strange feeling inside her. Her eyes, usually bright blue and full of childlike innocence, today shone with a different light, some otherworldly, alluring and mysterious. She couldn't understand this feeling, but it filled her with a new awareness of the world around her, as if she had suddenly gained insight, able to see the invisible. Naruko rose slowly from her bed, careful not to wake her neighbors, and walked over to her window. Behind the glass was the familiar village, but from her new perspective she saw something more, the smallest details of nature, seemingly magical in the early morning light. The leaves on the trees sparkled silver with dew, the morning wind quietly whispered to her of the ancient secrets of the earth, and the sun's rays penetrated the clouds, drawing shimmering patterns on the walls. She perceived all this with unusual acuity, as if her gaze was endowed with the ability to see the true essence of things. Before Naruko could look around more widely, a strange, sleepy light appeared on the other side of the room. She walked softly towards the table and saw an ancient scroll that seemed to glow from within. Her fingers involuntarily touched the paper, and immediately fragments of visions flashed through her mind, scenes of battles, ancient rituals, and incredible powers that once ruled the shinobi world. In these visions, she felt the presence of someone calling her name, the words clearly audible, although their source remained a mystery. Naruko's heart began to pound. She knew that this scroll was tied to her destiny, that something important for her future was encoded within it. She carefully rolled it up and placed it in a small box that she kept under her bed. On the table next to it was a small amulet in the shape of an eye, a gift from her mentor Conan, who always said, "Be attentive to your heart, and it will lead you to the truth." Naruko picked up the amulet and felt the warmth emanating from it. It was this amulet that had likely awakened her ability to see the world differently. The divine eye had become her secret gift. What does this mean? She whispered to herself, looking at the reflection of her new eye in the mirror. Instead of the usual radiance, there was something different in her gaze, a depth, a wisdom she had never felt before. But she did not know how to control this power or what it was for. Deciding to begin her search, she headed for the door of her room, determined to learn more about her gift. Naruko came down the stairs and found Conan already preparing the morning breakfast in the kitchen. Conan, with her usual solicitude, noticed the worried expression on Naruko's face. "Good morning, sunshine. Are you up so early?" she asked, handing Naruko a cup of tea. "Good morning, Conan. I felt something strange today," Naruko began, trying to find the words. "I think I have a new gift. I saw something unusual when I touched the scroll. These images, they are so realistic, as if I was really there." Conan smiled softly, realizing that the girl was beginning to realize the strangeness of her awakening. "Perhaps this is your divine eye, Naruko. Such a gift is very rare and powerful. We must figure out how to control it and how to use it for good," she said with a wink. Naruko was slightly surprised. She had always dreamed of becoming strong and protecting her loved ones. But now her goals and dreams had taken a new, mysterious turn. With such a gift, she could not only protect the village, but also penetrate the very essence of phenomena, foresee dangers and, perhaps, understand the deep connection between people. They sat down at the table, and Conan began to talk about the legendary divine eyes, mentioning ancient stories and myths of those who possessed such a power. Conan explained that such an eye allows one to see auras, chakra energy, hidden threads of fate, and even the soul of a person. However, with great power comes responsibility. The gift can lead to great good, but also to terrible consequences if it falls into the hands of evil intent. Naruko listened with bated breath, taking in every word her mentor said. Her mind was working hard, trying to comprehend what she was hearing. she realized that her life was about to change dramatically. And although she was afraid of the unknown, she was filled with curiosity and determination to find out her purpose. After breakfast, Conan suggested that Naruko receive special training in mastering her new gift. Over the course of the day, she introduced Naruko to the basics of meditation, which was necessary for concentration and chakra control, which was critical to controlling the divine eye. The girl trained diligently, sometimes trying to use her ability to see the auras of animals in the forest outside the village or predict subtle weather changes. During one such session, sitting at the foot of a large tree, Naruko closed her eyes and concentrated. She felt her eyes opening wider, and the world around her filling with bright lines of energy. She saw shimmering streams of chakra, flowing threads of light connecting all living things. The sight was both beautiful and terrifying. She felt part of something great and ancient, but she barely registered it. The disturbing image did not immediately give way to a clearer vision, but after a few minutes she managed to catch individual images. She saw a man's face filled with sadness and understanding, and then another face full of determination and strength. These visions were ephemeral, but they left a deep mark on her heart. Naruko realized that her gift was not just a way to see energy, but the key to understanding interpersonal connections and the experiences of others. Refreshed from her meditation, Naruko stood up and addressed Conan. "I want to know what these images mean. Who are these people? Why do I see them?" Conan gently placed her hand on the girl's shoulder and said, "In time, you will know. These images may be related to your past or future, to people with whom you cross paths. They may be people you find, or someone who will influence you." Naruko thought about her mentor's words, feeling that her journey was just beginning and that many trials lay ahead. She decided that no matter what the future held, she would use her gift to protect her friends and family. The divine eye, the gift she had received, would be her power for good. As evening fell, Naruko returned home, her mind full of new discoveries and plans. She wrote down her feelings and visions in a diary, trying to systematize everything she saw and felt during the day. Every time she reread the entries, her heart was filled with determination and faith that she could overcome all difficulties. Looking back on her first day with the divine eye, Naruko felt both joy and anxiety. Her world had changed forever, and there were many unknowns ahead. But she was no longer the ordinary girl from Konoha. Now she had a power that could change destinies, and she was ready to accept that responsibility. Thus ends the first day of the Divine Eye's awakening, leaving the reader in anticipation of the new discoveries that Naruto will bring and the questions that she will have to find answers to in the great world of shinobi. Chapter 2, Meeting Sasuke. The morning in Konoha began with the sound of birds singing and soft light filtering through the curtains of Naruto's house. After her first day of awakening with the divine eye, the girl felt both energized and tense. Her heart was beating faster with excitement for the new experiences and encounters that could happen that day. She got ready and headed to the Konoha training grounds, where classes for young shinobi were often held. Naruko wanted to test her abilities in real conditions and try to establish contact with those who could help her control the divine eye. Her mentor Conan recommended that she pay attention not only to technique and chakra, but also to the ability to interact with others. After all, true strength lay not only in the awareness of gifts, but also in understanding people. As she walked to the training grounds, Naruko's thoughts increasingly returned to the images she had seen during her meditation. She was troubled by those faces, filled with sadness and determination, that seemed familiar to her, but she could not quite place them. Perhaps one day she would meet those people and they would play an important role in her future. The noise of training on the training grounds was gradually giving way to silence as Naruko walked to the edge of it to be alone for a while and tried to concentrate. Suddenly, she felt a presence nearby. She turned around and saw Sasuke Uchiha, a slender, tall man with piercing black eyes and an athletic build. Sasuke, as always, looked reserved and a little cold, but at this moment, he turned his attention to Naruko with interest. "Hello, you must be the new student?" he asked, tilting his head slightly towards her. His voice was even and confident. Despite the fact that they had not yet become closely acquainted, Naruko felt a slight excitement, Meeting such a famous and powerful young ninja could be an important event in her life. Naruko smiled, trying to hide her slight nervousness. Yes, my name is Naruko. I am just starting my path as a shinobi and, in fact, I feel that I have special abilities. Sasuke frowned, but continued to listen. Special abilities? What do you mean? Naruko thought for a moment, feeling the difficulty of explaining her newfound gift. She couldn't open up so easily, afraid of how it would be received. But Sasuke seemed genuinely interested, and she wanted to share some of her feelings. I recently woke up with what's called the Divine Eye. This gift allows me to see energy flows and, more than usual. I'm still learning how to control it. Sasuke studied her closely, his eyes narrowing as he leaned in slightly closer. The Divine Eye? It's a rare gift I've only heard of in legends. Do you actually have it? Can you show me what you see? Naruko felt a special connection between them, as if Sasuke wasn't just interested in her abilities, but was looking for clues to something important in them. She took a deep breath and concentrated. Tiny sparks of light swirled in her eyes, and she reached out a hand to the space between them. Look, she said in a quiet voice. Do you see the patterns around us? There are streams of chakra running through all living things. Sasuke frowned, trying to see what Naruko was showing him. He held out his hand, and at that moment his own chakra vision began to perceive something unusual. It seemed as if the air around them was filled with ancient lines of energy, shimmering in bright colors. It's amazing, Sasuke muttered. I've never seen anything like it. But if you really do have such a gift, it could explain a lot about our fates. Naruko felt relief and joy at the recognition. Her gift was not just a fantasy, but a reality that they could both discuss. A quiet, close bond had formed between them, a bond between two young shinobi, united by a secret and a desire to understand their destiny. They sat down on the ground under the shade of a large tree, to talk in more detail. Sasuke turned out to be an interesting conversationalist. He asked many questions about her visions, about the sensations that accompanied the activation of the Divine Eye. Naruko told about her first experiences, about how she saw auras and connections between people, about how she felt a deep attraction to certain individuals. Sasuke listened to her attentively, nodding periodically, as if trying to compare what he heard with his own knowledge and intuition. Do you have prophetic visions? He finally asked. That is, you can foresee the future or the past? Naruko thought about it. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes the images come to me on their own, like flashbacks, but I'm not sure they're always true. They fill me with feelings and understanding more than they give me precise information about specific events. Sasuke nodded silently, processing this information. He had heard about the Divine Eyes for a long time, but meeting the owner of such a gift was rare for him. He realized that their meeting could be fateful. Personal stories began to leak out as they talked. Naruko spoke of her desire to become strong to protect her loved ones, her fears and hopes. Sasuke, though more reserved, shared some details about his journey, about how hard it was for him to find his way after losing his loved ones. Their conversation was a revelation for Naruko. In Sasuke, she saw not just a strong student, but a person who understood the pain and loneliness that were close to her. As the sun rose higher, the tree's shadow disappeared, and the world around her became clear again. Naruko felt as if her heart had found a kindred spirit. The Divine Eye allowed her to see not only physical energies, but also the connection that was forming between her and Sasuke. Although she felt the depth of her feelings, she still did not understand what changes this would lead to. Moving on to new topics, Sasuke asked an unexpected question. You mentioned that you felt drawn to certain people in your visions. Perhaps this is related to your destiny. Would you like to know who these people are? Naruko thought about it. Perhaps so. I see fragments of faces, sad, determined, full of love. But it's hard for me to discern them precisely. I hope that with time they will become clearer. Maybe one day I will meet them and learn the truth. Sasuke smiled slightly, though his expression remained serious. Then perhaps together we can unravel these mysteries. I could help you better understand your visions and develop your gift. Naruko felt an incredible gratitude and warmth from his words. They both had a long journey ahead of them to study the divine eye and find the truth behind their destinies. Their meeting was a new beginning, an alliance based on mutual respect, fear, and wonder at the power that Naruko possessed. They continued to discuss plans, how Naruko could train under Kanana, how she could learn to control her gift, and how Sasuke could accompany her on this path. There was hope and determination in their conversation. Despite the difficulty of their new situation, they were both ready for the challenge. As the day wore on, the sun began to set in the west, and the shadows grew longer. Naruto and Sasuke decided to meditate together for the evening, so that they could delve deeper into Naruto's powers, explore the energy flows around them, and perhaps gain new visions. Under the starry sky of Konoha, they sat in a circle, surrounded by the soft glow of lanterns, and began the practice that would become the first chapter of their journey together. Naruko closed her eyes, focused on her breathing, and allowed the divine eye to open another layer of reality before her. Sasuke, sitting next to her, quietly watched as his companion sank into deep meditation, surrounded by a mystical light. He felt that an invisible connection had formed between them, one that would perhaps grow stronger with each passing day. In the silence of the night, they were both lost in thoughts of the future, their feelings, and how their lives would intertwine. This night was the beginning of a long and difficult journey, a journey in which love, friendship, and ancient powers would play a key role. Naruko knew there was much to explore, but with Sasuke by her side, she felt stronger and more confident than ever before. Chapter 3, Test of Strength. Naruto and Sasuke began spending more time together, delving into her new gift, the divine eye. They met each morning at the Konoha training grounds, where they honed their skills under Kanana's tutelage and tried to better understand the nature of this mystical gift. This morning was especially important. Konan had prepared a special lesson aimed at developing Naruto's ability to control and use the divine eye in combat situations. Today, we will practice using your gift to anticipate enemy attacks and plan strategy, she explained as she watched them prepare. Naruko felt her heart beat faster with excitement. She knew that this exercise could be crucial in her development as a shinobi. Sasuke, on the other hand, looked calm and focused, ready to support his friend. Let's begin, Konan said, waving her chakra in front of them, creating an illusion of an opponent. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of them, filling the space with energy and tension. Naruto closed her eyes, concentrating on her gift. Her gaze slowly began to penetrate the illusion. Seeing the true nature of the opponent, a shadowy figure hiding behind a mask. Sasuke noticed how Naruko moved fluidly, anticipating every move of the imaginary enemy. He understood that her ability gave them a huge advantage, but he also realized that it required a great deal of concentration and willpower from her. Excellent, Naruko. Sasuke praised her, watching her every move. You're starting to feel the rhythm of the fight. Naruto smiled, feeling support from Sasuke. Thank you, Sasuke. I'm trying to figure out how to use my gift better. Konan watched them, noticing Naruko's progress. Now let's make it more difficult. Let's pretend we have multiple opponents. How will you handle that? She asked, adding another figure to the illusion. Naruko took a deep breath, focusing on her visions. She saw several shadowy figures moving in different directions. Her divine eye allowed her to track the movements of all her opponents at once, anticipating their attacks and finding weaknesses in their strategies. I'll use my chakra to create a protective field around myself and Sasuke, she explained, trying to control the flow of energy. Then I'll attack them one by one, using the weak points I can see through my eye. Sasuke nodded, ready to support her. Okay, let's try it. Suddenly, the illusion became more intense, with the opponents attacking with greater speed and force. Naruto and Sasuke responded instantly, using their skills and abilities to counter the attacks. Naruto's divine eye continued to predict the opponent's movements, allowing them to avoid serious blows and counterattack effectively. You're doing great, Naruto. Sasuke exclaimed, fending off another attack. Your gift is truly powerful. Naruko felt confidence growing within her. She began to understand how to use her gift not only to anticipate attacks, but to create strategic advantages in battle. Conan watched them with satisfaction, seeing her student grow into a strong and confident shinobi. After the training was over, Conan walked up to them, placing her hand on Naruko's shoulder. "You've done a great job today. The divine eye is not just a gift, it's a responsibility. You've begun to understand how to use it, but remember that with great power comes great responsibility." Naruko nodded, feeling deep gratitude towards her mentor. "Thank you, Conan. I will continue to learn and improve." Sasuke stepped closer, his eyes gleaming with determination. "We can do this together. If you have any difficulties, I'm always here to help." Naruko smiled, feeling the warmth of Sasuke's words. Their bond was growing stronger, and she knew that together they could overcome any challenge. Later that evening, after an intense training session, Naruko and Sasuke decided to take a walk through the streets of Konoha. They stopped at a large pond reflecting the sunset sky and sat on a bench, enjoying the peace and beauty of the moment. "You know, Naruko," Sasuke began, looking at the water's surface, "your gift can change a lot. But it's important to remember that power without wisdom can lead to disaster. I'm sure you'll find a balance and be able to use it for good." Naruko thought about his words. "I hope I can. Sometimes I feel like I still don't fully understand how to control my gift." Sasuke looked at her with sympathy. "It's okay. Time will tell how you cope. The main thing is not to be afraid to seek help and support from those who trust you." They sat in silence, enjoying the silence and the sunset light. Naruko felt her heart fill with warmth and hope. Her journey was just beginning, and together with Sasuke, she was ready to face any difficulties. But the silence was broken by a sudden shadow that slid along the edge of the pond. Naruko immediately looked up, her intuition telling her that something was wrong. Sasuke tensed, preparing for a possible attack. "Who's there?" he asked, peering into the darkness. A figure shrouded in shadows emerged from behind the bushes. It was a young ninja with long black hair and a serious expression. His eyes, despite the dark mask, sparkled with determination and hidden pain. "Who are you, and what do you want?" Naruto asked sharply, preparing to defend herself. The young ninja was silent for a moment before answering, "My name is Itachi Uchiha. I am not here to fight. I need your help." Naruto and Sasuke exchanged a surprised look. Itachi was known as one of Konoha's most talented and mysterious shinobi, whose motives often remained unclear even to his closest allies. "What makes you think I can help?" Naruto asked, still watching Itachi warily. "Because you possess the divine eye," he replied calmly. "This gift can reveal truths that are invisible to ordinary sight. I seek information on ancient techniques that can help us protect the village from the coming threats." Sasuke leaned forward, his eyes studying Itachi carefully. "What kind of threats? Why do we need that information?" Itachi sighed, as if gathering his strength. "There are forces in our world that seek to destroy the balance and establish their dominance. Some of them are hidden from the eyes of ordinary shinobi, and only those with special gifts, like yours, can detect their presence." Naruko felt her heart beat faster. Her gift suddenly took on a new meaning, not only for personal growth, but also for the protection of everything she held dear. "I'm ready to help," she said firmly, looking straight into Itachi's eyes. "What do you need me to do?" Itachi nodded, satisfied with her determination. "The first step is to combine our knowledge and skills. We must work together to uncover the secrets of the ancient techniques and prevent the impending disaster." Sasuke, though he seemed hesitant, also agreed. "Okay, we'll help. But first, tell us more about what exactly you're looking for and what techniques you have in mind." Itachi sat down on the bench next to them, opening the scroll he carried with him. "These techniques are ancient ninja arts, lost to time. They hold the power to change the course of war and protect the village from any threat. But to master them, a special gift and a deep understanding of chakra is required." Naruko looked at the scroll carefully, feeling her heart fill with determination. I am ready to learn these techniques and use my gift to protect Konoha. Itachi smiled, showing a hint of warmth in his usually serious expression for the first time. Very well then. Let's start with the basics. We must prepare you for the trials ahead and teach you how to use the divine eye to its fullest potential. Training began the following day. Itachi led Naruto and Sasuke through a series of exercises designed to develop their chakra and improve their control over the divine eye. He was a strict teacher who demanded maximum effort, but he was also fair and understood the importance of teamwork. Naruko gradually began to master new techniques, feeling her abilities becoming more powerful and precise. The divine eye allowed her to not only see chakra, but also analyze its structure, predict attacks, and find weak points in opponents. Sasuke, in turn, learned to work as a team, using his natural talents and enhancing his abilities under Itachi's guidance. Their synergy as a team became increasingly apparent, and they soon became inseparable allies in the fight to protect the village. As Naruko's training progressed, she learned more about Itachi's past and his mission. She began to understand that their paths had not intertwined by chance, and that fate had bound them together to fulfill a greater purpose. Her feelings for Sasuke deepened, and the bond between them grew stronger, becoming the foundation for future trials and triumphs. However, despite her progress in training, Naruko still felt that her gift still held many secrets. She knew that there were more secrets to uncover, but she was prepared for it, with the support of Sasuke and Itachi. Thus began a new chapter of her journey, a journey filled with challenges, discoveries, and an unwavering determination to protect those dear to her. Naruko knew that her divine eye was not just a gift, but the key to saving everything she loved, and that together with Sasuke and Itachi, they could overcome any obstacles that stood in their way. The End. Chapter 3. Chapter 4, Shadows of the Past. In the days following their encounter with Itachi Uchiha, tensions in Konoha grew. Naruto, Sasuke, and Itachi began working together to research the ancient scrolls and techniques Itachi had mentioned. Their small group began traveling to sacred sites and long-forgotten camps of ancient shinobi, where the secrets of strength and wisdom were said to be imprinted. This path required courage, patience, and a deep understanding of their ancestors. One early morning, as the golden rays of the rising sun illuminated the treetops and quietly filtered through the foliage, 3 shinobi found themselves in an ancient temple, abandoned for centuries. The temple was dedicated to the study of martial arts and spiritual enlightenment. Its walls were covered with frescoes depicting scenes of great battles and meditations, and in the center of the room stood a huge altar engraved with chakra symbols. Naruko felt the divine eye begin to work at full power in this place. Thin threads of glowing energy flickered in her eyes as she studied the ancient relics. She felt that there was a connection to her gift, to her past and future. One of the murals caught her attention. It depicted a young shinobi with eyes that glowed like her own. The girl felt a special closeness to this image, as if she saw herself reflected in it. "Look, Naruto," Itachi said, walking up to her. "This young warrior may be the ancestor of your gift. His image may tell us more about the origin of the divine eye." Naruko nodded, her voice shaking with excitement. "These symbols. I feel like they're calling me to something important." Sasuke, standing nearby, listened to their conversation. He noticed how a special bond was forming between Naruko and Itachi, not just as a teacher and student, but as people united by a common cause. He couldn't help but feel a little jealous of Itachi's warmth towards Naruko, since Sasuke himself had deep feelings for her. However, he tried to hide it, focusing on the mission. Their research led them to an ancient library where the lore masters had guarded texts that could unlock the secrets of the divine eye for centuries. In the dim light of the ancient chamber, amidst dust and cobwebs, they found a scroll sealed with a sigil that was familiar to Itachi. A slight shudder ran through Naruko's body as she touched it. The image in her mind flared once more. Fragments from her visions began to come to life, as if the scroll was letting her into the past. Naruko unrolled the scroll, her eyes widening in surprise. It described rituals to activate the divine eye, stories of great warriors, and their connections to ancient beings who possessed similar gifts. The lines were difficult to understand, but with Itachi's help and Sasuke's observations, she began to comprehend the meaning. This scroll says that the divine eye is not just a gift, but a tool for restoring balance to the world, Itachi said quietly, translating one of the passages from the ancient language. It connects the owner with the spirits of their ancestors and allows them to see the connections between events of the past and the future. Naruto took a deep breath. Everything around her seemed new and familiar at the same time. She turned to Itachi. So my visions are parts of this connection? I don't just see people and energies, but entire threads of history intertwined with each other? Itachi nodded, his face serious and understanding. Exactly. Every image you see carries a deep meaning. They are lessons from the past, clues to the future, and reminders that every life is connected by invisible threads of fate. Meanwhile, Sasuke watched Naruko, watching her study the scroll with fascination. His inner conflict grew stronger. The love he felt for her was mixed with a sense of duty and dedication to the mission. He was afraid that opening up her soul and her relationship with Itachi could change what he had kept to himself for so long. Over the next few days, they engaged in intensive training and study. Naruko learned to use her divine eye in combat, to see the auras of her enemies, and to find their weaknesses. Each achievement brought her pride and joy, but also fear at the enormous responsibility that her gift brought. One evening, when the moon had already risen, lighting up the night sky, Sasuke and Naruko lingered on the roof of the tower, looking at the starry sky. There was a silence between them, filled with unspoken feelings and thoughts. Sasuke, what do you think it means to be with someone as strong as him? Naruto asked, her voice quiet but sincere. You know so much about Itachi and the past, and I sometimes think you see something in me that reminds you of someone from your past. Sasuke looked thoughtfully at the horizon. His voice was almost a whisper. Being around someone with such power is both inspiring and terrifying. I'm learning to control my feelings so as not to interfere with you. You are special, Naruko, and your path is unique. Naruto smiled through her sadness. I'm glad I can learn from you and Itachi. You helped me find answers to questions that seemed insurmountable before. Sasuke reached out and gently touched her hand. The simple gesture spoke of mutual understanding and trust. They both knew that their bond was more than just an alliance in battle. It was a bond based on respect, care, and a quiet acknowledgement of deep feelings. Meanwhile, Itachi, watching from a nearby rooftop, sensed a special dynamic developing between them. He knew his student and Sasuke were growing closer, and that satisfied him. Their union was the key to their future success. However, he also knew that remaining in the shadows and quietly observing their development meant allowing them to build their own relationship and learn. Itachi quietly retreated into the darkness, leaving the younger shinobi to their revelations. The next day, their training moved into the practical part. Konan set up a simulation of a real fight with a group of opponents so that Naruto could use the divine eye in extreme conditions. Sasuke and Itachi stood by her side, supporting her. Remember, Naruko, Konan instructed, your eye is your best ally. Use it to understand your opponent's intentions and act quickly. The fight began. Naruko faced several opponents at once. She felt her eye scanning the surroundings, seeing not only the movements of her opponents, but also the information they left behind: energy, fear, the desire to win. Her actions became fluid and precise. She parried blows, dodged attacks, and counterattacked with amazing speed and precision. At one point, she foresaw a trap set by her opponent. Her voice wavered, but she quickly changed direction, dodging the cunning maneuver. Sasuke saw her reaction and smiled with surprise and pride. He understood how much she had grown in such a short time, how much her gift had become part of her fighting style. When the simulation came to an end, the enemies retreated, and Naruko, out of breath, looked around at her surroundings. Her divine eye was still glowing brightly, capturing the details of every step. Konan approached her, pleased with the result. Excellent, Naruko. You quickly adapted to the new conditions and used your gift at the highest level. Remember, practice is the key to mastery. With each battle, you will become stronger. Naruko nodded, her eyes full of determination. She knew there were still many difficulties ahead, but with the support of Sasuke, Itachi, and Kanata, she was ready for anything. Her heart was filled with gratitude and confidence that her path as a shinobi was just beginning. That evening, after a long day of training, Naruko went to her home. She sat in her room, flipping through the pages of her journal, recording her visions, accomplishments, and emotions. Her entries were filled with fear, joy, and a growing understanding of her role in the world. The divide I was opening up new horizons for her, and she knew that her life was no longer just a child's life, but the beginning of a great journey. She looked into the mirror again, seeing the reflection of her young but determined self. Her eyes shone with an extraordinary light, and she quietly said, "I'm ready." Her eyes were full of secrets, but also hope. She knew that there was much unknown ahead, but with the support of her friends and mentors, she would believe in herself. Naruto, who possessed the divine eye, set out on her path, a path of strength, wisdom, and love that would lead her to unravel the mysteries of the past and build a bright future for everyone she loved. The End. Chapter 4. Chapter 5, Love Through Trials. Morning had come again in Konoha, and the first rays of the sun were penetrating into Naruko's dark room, waking her up with a soft breeze. She slowly opened her eyes, feeling her divine eye gradually returning to normal after a night's rest. Her head was filled with thoughts, yesterday's training, the words of her mentors, and unforgettable moments with Sasuke and Itachi kept returning to her memory. Why is it so difficult now? Naruko thought, rubbing her eyes. I feel incredible strength and responsibility, but my heart is still worried because of the feelings I'm starting to have for Sasuke. He's become more important to me than just a training mate. She stood up from her bed, her heart pounding with both excitement and a little anxiety. The divine eye flickered golden for a moment, reflecting her inner turmoil. Naruko knew she had to meet with Sasuke to discuss her new lessons and upcoming trials, but she couldn't help but feel unsure that her growing feelings might get in the way of their mission. Meanwhile, Sasuke woke up in his room nearby. He sat by the window and looked at the awakening city. His thoughts were filled with emotional tension. Naruko is amazing. Her strength is growing every day, and I see her getting closer to me. But will I be able to be the one to support her when she needs it? He thought. He also felt a little jealousy towards Itachi, who seemed to be such a caring mentor for Naruko. Why am I so afraid of losing her attention? Maybe because my feelings have become stronger every day, Sasuke thought, trying to sort out his emotions. That same morning, Itachi sat in his room, looking through ancient texts and thinking about the fates of his students. He felt a close connection forming between him and Naruto, and it filled him with a sense of responsibility. This girl has great potential, but her path will be full of trials. I need to be there, to guide her, even if she does not always realize my care, Itachi thought, closing one of the scrolls and carefully putting it on the shelf. Konan couldn't sleep either. She was worried about Naruko's safety and how her gift was developing. Naruko is growing so fast, and I can see the new power surrounding her, Konan thought. But what if she gets lonely or confused about her feelings? I have to be there to support her. Later that morning, Naruko headed to the training grounds, where Sasuke was already waiting. Her heart beat faster at the sight of him. She noticed the small details, how his hair was slightly disheveled after a night's sleep, how determinedly he looked at the horizon, preparing for a new day. Feelings of gratitude and hesitation mixed inside her. Sasuke is always there, he supports me, but sometimes I just want to open up to him completely, she thought, tending to her divine eye, focusing on her morning meditation. Sasuke approached her with a quiet but confident step. His voice was calm as he said, "Good morning, Naruko. Ready for today's training?" She replied with a slight smile, "Good morning, Sasuke. Yes, I'm ready. Today I want to focus on developing control over my eye." Sasuke nodded, but his soul was filled with complex feelings. She is so fragile and strong at the same time. I need to be there so that she doesn't feel lonely, he thought, trying to hide his excitement behind a mask of calm. They began training under the supervision of Kanata and Itachi. Naruto's eye continued to see auras and energy flows around her, allowing her to predict her opponent's movements with increasing accuracy. In between exercises, she tried to ask Sasuke questions, and their conversations grew increasingly close and understanding. During one of these breaks between training, when they were sitting on a low wall and drinking water, Naruko decided to share her worries. "Sasuke, I feel a little insecure about my feelings. I appreciate your support, but sometimes I feel like I get lost in these emotions." Sasuke looked at her carefully, his gaze penetrating. "I understand you, Naruko. Sometimes I too have faced uncertainty in my feelings. It is important to remember that they are natural. We are here together, and I will always help you figure it out if you need it." Naruko felt relieved. Her thoughts were swirling around Sasuke, and she wanted to open up to him more and more, but she was afraid that their friendship might change. What if he doesn't accept my feelings? She worried. But the look in his warm, understanding gaze told her that everything would be fine. Itachi watched them from afar, allowing them to develop their relationship, but at the same time remaining ready to intervene if something went wrong. He could feel the power growing within Naruto, and her bond with Sasuke growing stronger. Her path was intertwined with their destinies. They needed to be guided in the right direction, he thought, recalling the ancient prophecies surrounding the divine eye. Between training sessions, Konan took notes in her journal, recording Naruko's progress and the times she needed support. Her thoughts were focused on how best to help the girl overcome her internal conflicts and develop her unique gift. By the evening of the training day, Naruko was already feeling more confident. She was able to show significant progress in controlling her divine eye and using it in combat situations. Sasuke, watching her progress, felt proud and deeply attached to her. He realized that their path together had great potential, and that together they could face any difficulties. As the training day came to an end, the three shinobi gathered around the fire, discussing their plans for the future and sharing their thoughts. Naruko, tired but content, looked into the flames and reflected on her inner world, her love for Sasuke, her path with the divine eye. Her thoughts were deep and multifaceted. "I am beginning to understand myself better, but there is still much to come. My feelings are growing, and I feel that Sasuke is part of this path. Maybe our friendship will grow into something more?" Sasuke was thinking about his feelings for Naruko at the time, trying to balance his inner turmoil with a calm facade. He saw her purity and strength, and it inspired him. "I have to support her, regardless of my emotions. But these feelings, they make me wonder if they will distract us from our goal." Itachi, sitting a little to the side, watched them quietly. He knew that their bond was a strong link that would help them fight the approaching shadows. His thoughts were hidden behind a mask of imperturbability, but inside he was endlessly worried about the future of his students and the fate of all of Konoha. Thus passed the 5th day, a day filled with trials, discoveries, and deep emotional experiences. Each of them, be it Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, or Konan, pondered their steps, feelings, and goals. They understood that there were still many difficulties ahead, but their union, based on love, trust, and responsibility, grew stronger with each passing day. The end. Chapter 5. Chapter 6, Secret Signs. Morning had come again, and the soft light of the rising sun was shining into Naruko's room, illuminating her bed. She awoke with a slight sense of unease that came with her new visions. The divine eye had awakened another wave of emotion and foreboding within her. Her thoughts immediately turned to the tasks ahead and how her gift could help in the future. "Why are my visions becoming more and more mysterious?" Naruko wondered, carefully touching the amulet around her neck, which reminded her of her duty to use her gift wisely. "I see fragments of symbols and ancient signs, but their meaning is not yet clear to me. Perhaps they will show the way or warn of an impending threat." With these thoughts, she left the house and headed towards the training hall, where Sasuke, Itachi, and Konan were already gathering. Along the way, she noticed how the attention of the people around her, seemingly by accident, noted something unusual in her appearance, that light in her eyes, that confidence in her gait, which she herself did not yet fully understand. In the hallway of the training hall, she was met by Sasuke and Itachi. Both greeted her with respect, but there was a slight concern in their eyes. Sasuke was the first to speak. "Naruko, I noticed that your recent visions have had strange symbols. Were you able to recognize them or understand their meaning?" Naruko blushed slightly, but gathered her courage to answer, "I saw several ancient symbols that repeated in my dreams during meditation. They seemed important, but I have not yet found a way to decipher them. Perhaps they are related to my gift and the trials ahead." Itachi nodded, his face serious. "The ancient symbols may be the key to understanding the power of the divine eye. They may also indicate mysterious forces that seek to interfere with our world. We should study these signs and understand their meaning." Conan, listening to the conversation, was already planning in her mind how they could research these symbols using the Academy's resources and the ancient scrolls. Her thoughts were practical. If we can decipher these symbols, we can foresee dangers and learn more about how to use the divine eye. But it will require a combined effort, the knowledge of the elders, and the fresh perspective of Naruko. At the same time, Sasuke was thinking about his feelings and tasks. His thoughts were racing. On the one hand, I want to help Naruko and support her, especially now that her visions are becoming more and more mysterious. On the other hand, I feel an internal conflict, because her closeness to me causes strong emotions that are difficult for me to control. But now, the priority is protection and research. Naruko suggested a plan. We could go back to the Academy library and look for books about ancient symbols and prophecies. Perhaps there will be a text that explains the meaning of these signs. Itachi agreed, "Good idea. The library contains works of ancient sages who may have left clues about your gift." "Sasuke, Conan, let's go there with Naruto." As the four of them left the room, each of them was lost in their own thoughts. Naruko felt both fear and excitement. What if I can't decipher these signs? What if they warn of an impending danger that we can't handle? But I have to try, not just for myself, but for everyone I care about. On the way to the library, Sasuke kept his hand behind his back, watching her carefully. His thoughts were full of determination and concern. She is strong, but she needs support. I must be there to help her, even if it means testing myself. Our alliance is necessary, and I will not let my feelings get in the way of our mission. Conan, walking alongside them, made a mental list of possible sources of knowledge that could shed light on the mysterious symbols. She thought, we need to find rare manuscripts and scrolls. Perhaps they contain descriptions of gifts similar to those of Naruto. But it is also important to protect her from outside threats while she is so open and vulnerable. Itachi listened silently to the conversations, his mind analyzing every fragment he heard. He understood that these symbols and prophecies could be part of a grand design that linked their destinies. His thoughts were hidden behind an impassive mask. We must prepare for anything. Naruto is capable of more than we think. And her path will cross with forces we cannot yet even imagine. I must guide her, protect her from the temptations and traps of fate. In the Academy library, they were met by an old librarian who knew almost every dusty book on the shelves. They explained the situation to him, and his eyes widened a little in curiosity, but then he nodded. I have seen similar symbols in an ancient manuscript. Follow me. The librarian led them to a secret section where books and scrolls were kept, risking them being found by no one but those who truly sought knowledge. Here, amidst the dust of centuries, they discovered a tome with images and translations of symbols similar to those Naruto had seen. Naruko opened the tome, and her divine eye glowed, noting the familiar patterns. She felt a connection to the ancient sages who left this work awaken within her. Her thoughts trembled with admiration. Every symbol here comes alive before my eyes. I feel their power and understand that they are the key to controlling my gift. Sasuke studied the book carefully, watching Naruko's reaction. His inner voice was quietly rejoicing. She's on the right path. These symbols will help her gain even more power. I just need to help her with this. Itachi, studying the lines of ancient language, added, these symbols are related to rituals to activate and deepen the divine eye. They describe how through meditation and connection with the ancestors one can expand one's capabilities and gain access to ancient wisdom. Conan watched Naruko, seeing her eyes fill with understanding. She thought quietly, this girl is incredible. She was able to uncover secrets that many have remained elusive. Now it's our job to help her use this knowledge and keep her path safe. The atmosphere in the library was one of deep study and concentration. Each character was lost in their own thoughts, but there was an unbreakable bond between them, based on a common desire to understand and protect Naruto. After hours of working on the scrolls and studying the symbols, Naruko looked up to see Itachi smiling softly at her. You have done a great job. This knowledge will be the foundation for your further development. But remember, true strength comes not only from understanding the symbols, but also from inner harmony. Naruko nodded, her thoughts full of determination and gratitude. I must become stronger to protect those I love and use my gift wisely. These symbols are only the beginning of my journey. That evening, back home, she wrote in her journal about her discoveries, adding new notes about the symbols she had learned. Her thoughts flowed onto the pages, reflecting her inner world, filled with hope, fear, love, and challenges to come. I feel that there are still many secrets and dangers ahead, she wrote. But with the support of Sasuke, Itachi, and Kanana, I am ready to face whatever fate has in store for me. My journey has just begun, and the divine eye will open doors to new worlds of knowledge and power for me. When she closed the diary, her eyes met the reflection in the mirror again. There burned the fire of determination and a quiet sadness for her lost childhood. But her path was ahead, and she was no longer afraid to follow it. She was ready for any challenge, armed with love, wisdom, and the divine eye. The end. Chapter 6. Chapter 7, Confession of the Divine Eye. The morning in Konoha brought a fresh wind of change and new challenges. After a week of intense study of ancient symbols and training, Naruko felt her strength growing and her understanding of her gift deepening. However, questions and doubts still raged within her, her inner world crying out for revelations that could shed light on her complex feelings and the trials ahead. That day, Naruko met Sasuke at the training grounds, where they had already been training together under the guidance of Itachi and Kanana. The morning sun shone on their faces, highlighting the determination in Sasuke's eyes and the thoughtfulness in Naruko's divine eyes. As they practiced their tactics, Naruko couldn't hide her nervousness. Her thoughts revolved around recent events, studying the scrolls, her growing feelings for Sasuke, and Itachi's hidden worries. Every movement in her eyes reflected the depth of her emotions and inner struggle. Why do these symbols evoke so much emotion in me? She thought, blocking another virtual blow foreseen by her divine eye. Maybe they are connected to my destiny and the feelings I have for Sasuke? But will I be able to open up to him completely? Sasuke, noticing Naruko's hesitation, suggested a short break. He sat down on the edge of the clearing, and Naruko came up to him. His eyes were sincere, and he could see her growing doubts. Naruto, it seems like something is bothering you. Do you want to talk? He asked in a quiet, attentive voice, carefully hiding his own torment. She sat down next to him, her hands on the ground, trying to gather her thoughts. Her divine eye flickered with a faint light as she looked into his eyes, feeling the thin threads of energy connecting them. Sasuke. She began hesitantly, the last few weeks have been full of revelations. I've learned a lot about my gift. But now I feel like I'm keeping something important from you. I've started to feel feelings for you that I can't describe. These emotions scare me. I'm afraid that if I open up completely, everything will change. Naruto's words hung in the air. Sasuke took a deep breath, his thoughts racing between wanting to support her and fearing how their relationship would change. She's afraid of me? I have to reassure her, his thoughts flashed, but he quickly pushed them away. He looked at her with gentleness. Naruko, I appreciate your frankness. I too feel something special for you. But I'm afraid that these feelings may confuse our paths and distract us from our goals. However, if we are honest with each other, I'm sure we can find a balance. Naruko felt relieved, her heart softening at his words. The divine eye filled with a warm light as she smiled through her tears. Thank you, Sasuke. I didn't expect such understanding. It means so much to me to know that I'm not alone in my experiences. At this point, Itachi and Conan watched them from a distance, realizing that deep feelings had developed between the young shinobi that could become both their strength and their test. Itachi mused, these feelings are not an obstacle, but a reinforcement. Their bond will make them stronger if they learn to trust each other and channel their energy properly. But they must be careful with this, emotions can cloud their judgment at critical moments. Conan smiled softly, seeing how Naruko and Sasuke had found common ground. The peace in their hearts would be strengthened, and it would help them overcome their difficulties. But I must be ready to support them at any time when their feelings get in the way. As the days passed, Naruto and Sasuke's relationship grew stronger. They learned new techniques together, exchanged thoughts about the meaning of their visions, and dreamed of the future. Despite the difficulties that arose, their trust in each other grew stronger, and Naruto's divine eye allowed them to see in each other what the normal eye could not see, the invisible threads that connected their destinies. That evening, after classes had ended, they found themselves on the riverbank again, where they spent many hours talking under the starry sky. Naruko shared her thoughts about the ancient symbols that still fascinated her deep down. Sasuke listened attentively, occasionally stroking her hand, trying to convey his support. I believe these signs are a warning of impending danger, Naruko said, looking at the moon's reflection in the water. They seem familiar, as if I've seen them before in visions involving you and maybe even Itachi. Sasuke frowned slightly, his thoughts once again distracted by the complexity of feelings engulfing his heart. If this threat really is about us, then we need to be prepared, he thought. But he also felt how his affection for Naruko made him want to protect her at all costs. We will solve this mystery together, Naruko, he said firmly, looking into her eyes. The divine eye is a tool for both of us. And no matter what happens, I am here. Naruko felt the world around her become a little brighter. Her thoughts filled with confidence and gratitude for having an ally like Sasuke. She knew there were many challenges ahead, but she also knew that together they could decipher ancient secrets and prepare for the threats to come. At that moment, the forest thicket rustled in the distance, and Naruko felt a slight premonition pierce her heart. Her divine eye widened, capturing the smallest changes in the energy around her. She gently patted Sasuke's hand. It seems that we are not alone. Some forces are watching us. Sasuke tensed, his thoughts instantly switching to combat readiness. We need to be on guard. But don't worry too much. Together, we can handle this, he reassured her, though he felt a slight chill from the premonition. They exchanged glances filled with determination and calm self-confidence. Their hearts, full of love and trust, became a stronghold in the face of an unpredictable future. And although the shadows of the past and secret signs still hid their secrets, Naruto and Sasuke were ready to face them together. Relying on the divine eye, friendship, and the strong bond that bound their destinies. The End. Chapter 7. Chapter 8, Omens and Trials. The morning sun shone through the forest, illuminating the training grounds of Konoha. Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, and Conan were about to begin another day of training when a strange tension filled the air. Recent events had them on guard, as if an invisible threat was lurking in the shadows. Naruko stood in the center of the field, her eyes closed and her focus on her divine eye. A storm of thoughts and feelings was going on inside her. Her mind was searching for answers to questions. What forces are watching us? What do these premonitions mean? She felt a certain anxiety piercing her heart, but she knew that she had to act calmly and with focus. Memories of the symbols she had seen in her visions, and how they had led her to new knowledge, flashed through her mind. Perhaps these signs are the key to protecting herself from what is coming, Naruko thought, but I need to learn to trust my eye and intuition. Her divine eye glowed softly, picking up the smallest fluctuations of chakra around her. Sasuke, who stood next to her, watched her carefully. His thoughts were filled with determination. Naruko is growing every day, but I still feel fear for her safety. These threats may be real, and we need to prepare. I must be strong for her, even if doubts and fears smolder inside me. Itachi, standing in the shadows a few steps away, was pondering his next move. He knew that there was a special feeling between them, and that it could become a weakness in the future. His inner voice reminded him to remain objective. This bond between Naruto and Sasuke gives them strength, but I must guide them so that their feelings do not distract them from the task at hand. The approaching threat requires our concentration and unity. Conan glanced at the group again, taking in the mood and the environment. Everyone was so focused, but I could sense a slight sense of unease in the air. Should we prepare for an unexpected encounter? How can I help them communicate better and stay clear-headed? Conan planned to structure the training day so that they would learn to work under increased pressure and stress. Suddenly, Naruko opened her eyes, and her divine eye detected an unusual flow of energy piercing the forest in the distance. Her breath caught, her heart began to beat faster. "Sasuke, look," she whispered, pointing toward the thick trees. Sasuke's head immediately turned in that direction. His inner voice was alert. This could be a sign that threats are getting closer. "We need to check what's going on there, but be careful, we don't know what we're up against." He looked at Naruko, his face serious. "There may be a source of imbalance there. We should investigate the place, but we need to prepare first," he said, trying to sound confident. Naruko felt her thoughts trying to connect what she saw with ancient symbols and prophecies. Could this energy be connected to what I saw in my visions? If so, then this is a warning that must be responded to. Itachi stepped closer, his voice calm but insistent. "Before we go there, we need to gather more information and prepare for possible danger. Naruto, your divine eye will help us in this search. But be careful, the first encounter with a new source of energy can be a test." Conan suggested that they conduct reconnaissance from the safest distance. She thought quietly, "We must act in concert and not panic. If one of us gets injured, the consequences could be unpredictable, especially for Naruko and her gift." Sasuke nodded, "We'll go as a group. Conan, you coordinate our approach. Itachi, you analyze ancient texts to understand the nature of this energy. Naruto, you'll be on the front lines, using your gift to find a way through the forest." Naruko felt a mixture of excitement and fear flare up inside her. Her thoughts flowed in silence. "I trust Sasuke and Itachi. Together, we can handle any threat. But what if my gift can't protect us from what lies ahead?" The group headed towards the forest, moving carefully and in unison. Naruko led the way, her divine eye helping her find the safest route through the dense forest. Anticipate traps, and note anomalies in the energy. Each step was accompanied by her internal dialogue. "I see streams of energy that lead to this place. What do they mean? Is this a connection to ancient powers or traces of evil intent?" Sasuke walked behind her, watching her carefully, his thoughts focused on protecting Naruko and keeping her confident. He thought, "I won't let her make a mistake. My job is to guide and protect. But her strength is the key to our success. We must trust each other completely." Their path led them to a small clearing, where nature seemed unusually calm. Naruko slowed her pace, stopping in the center of the clearing and closing her eyes. The divine eye turned on fully, filling her consciousness with a multitude of patterns and symbols that seemed familiar and new at the same time. At that moment, Sasuke noticed her hand shaking slightly. He realized that she was feeling an internal struggle. She is going through something important. I need to be there, but it is difficult for me to understand the depth of her condition, he thought, quietly sitting down next to her. Naruko opened her eyes and looked at Sasuke. Her inner monologue was filled with a sense of relief. His presence helps me find peace even when I'm overcome with fear. I know that with him, I can overcome any difficulties. She said quietly, Sasuke, I feel a strong connection to this place. These symbols I saw, they remind me of something important, but I can't quite understand it. Sasuke put his hand on her shoulder, supportingly, let's try to figure this out together. Use your gift, and I'll help you interpret what you see. Together, we'll find the answers. And so they began to work together, Naruko immersed herself in the flow of energy, and Sasuke translated her visions into understandable words, asking questions and helping her structure her thoughts. Their internal dialogues intertwined with real conversations, creating a union of minds and hearts, united in the desire to understand the secrets of this place. Itachi and Konan watched from a safe distance, assessing the progress. Itachi mused quietly, "The girl is capable of great things, and her bond with Sasuke only strengthens her spirit. But we must be careful, these secret signs can point not only to the future, but also to dangers hidden beyond our understanding." Konan wrote everything down in her notebook, her thoughts full of worries and hopes. If they could decipher these symbols, they might be able to stop the threats that came from the shadows. Naruto and Sasuke had to learn to work in harmony with each other, that was their strength. At the end of the day, returning to Konoha from the clearing, Naruko felt inner peace and confidence. Her thoughts were filled with the understanding that she was not alone, that her friends and mentors were nearby. Their path together continued, full of secrets, trials, and mutual support. Finally, sitting by the fire at their campsite, Naruko quietly whispered to herself, "I took an important step today. I began to understand how my divine eye is connected to our destiny. Sasuke is my support, and together we are ready to face whatever the future holds." A sense of calm and confidence was born in her heart that, despite all the trials ahead, she would be able to reveal the secrets of her gift and protect those she loves. The End. Chapter 8. Chapter 9, Delving into Ancient Mysteries. The following days were spent in an intense search for knowledge and understanding of the connections between the past, present, and future that were drawn through Naruto's divine eye. After returning from the clearing where she and Sasuke had attempted to decipher the ancient symbols, the group of shinobi decided to focus their attention on studying the scroll they had found and other ancient manuscripts to uncover secrets that could be the key to their future defense. In the bright library of the academy, surrounded by old shelves and flickering candles, Naruko, Sasuke, Itachi, and Konan were gathered together. Each of them was immersed in studying ancient texts, and the atmosphere was tense but calm. Naruko carefully examined the illustrations and symbols that the scroll revealed before her, feeling the divine eye helping her to see the hidden details. These marks, they tell of a ritual that activates a deep connection between the owner of the eye and the spirits of the ancestors. But what does this mean for me and our path? Naruko wondered, watching the shimmering patterns of energy flowing around her. Sasuke sat across from me, his gaze focused on one of the scroll fragments. His thoughts were floating, Naruko is growing stronger. I can see her connection to the divine eye deepening. But what if this knowledge opens the way to what we fear? I must be ready to support her and help direct her power for good. Itachi, who had been studying the parallel texts, quietly analyzed what he had read. He understood that uncovering ancient secrets could have unforeseen consequences. Every step forward brings us closer to the solution, but it can also open the door to danger. I must ensure that Naruko does not go down the wrong path, succumbing to the temptation of knowledge that could consume her. Konan, who was sitting next to a table with a large number of notebooks, concentrated on organizing the data she had found. Her thoughts were practical. It is important to structure this information so that we can quickly apply it when needed. Naruko has shown incredible abilities, and I want to support her every step of the way by providing her with everything she needs. Naruto stood up at that moment and walked to the large window of the library. Her gaze wandered to the quiet streets of Konoha, bathed in the soft morning light. She tried to capture the inspiration and power of nature around her, to connect more deeply with her gift. Questions and aspirations swirled in her mind. My power is growing, but what is its true purpose? Will I be able to use it to protect those I care about and bring peace? Deep inside, she felt the warm presence of Sasuke as he approached her from behind. He gently placed his hand on her shoulder, and his touch, full of support and understanding, gave her a feeling of calm. Naruto, he said softly, I can see that you need some rest. You're doing great things, but don't forget to take care of yourself. She smiled at him, feeling his words warm her heart. Thank you, Sasuke. Your support means a lot to me. Sometimes I feel like my gift is both a blessing and a curse. but with you by my side, I feel the strength to keep going. His thoughts flashed through his head, she is wonderful. I am ready to go through everything with her. But how can I help her in those moments when fear and doubt come to her? I need to find words that will give her confidence. Their conversation was interrupted by the soft rustling of pages. Itachi held up another ancient scroll, adorned with the symbol that had been repeated in Naruto's visions. This sign is often found in the context of rituals involving the divine eye. It can mean opening the way, Itachi explained, his voice even and penetrating. Naruko took the scroll in her hands, and her divine eye glowed for a moment, as if approving of this moment. She felt fragments of visions and Itachi's stories merging in her mind, forming a new picture. Over the next few hours, they delved into the new scroll, discussing theories and possible meanings of the symbols. There was an air of trust and unity between them. Each character was experiencing their own thoughts and feelings, intertwined with a common goal. When the meeting in the library ended, Naruko was alone for a moment, sitting among the ancient books. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the divine eye relax after a long meditation. Her thoughts were full of determination. I am on a path. Mysteries are opening before me that will lead me to a greater understanding of myself and the world. But I must walk carefully, relying on my friends and mentors. Together, we can overcome any challenge. She opened her eyes and noticed how her reflection in the stained glass showed not only her form, but also subtle lines of light around her, the symbols and energies she had just been studying. A feeling of gratitude arose within her for this power and for those who supported her along the way. The evening shadows were already gathering outside. But Naruko's soul was calm and confident. She understood that new trials and discoveries awaited her ahead, but she was ready to meet them with an open heart and a clear mind, knowing that her divine eye and loyal friends would help her find her true purpose. The End. Chapter 9. Chapter 10, Ghostly Echoes. A new day had dawned in Konoha, and the atmosphere around the training grounds was filled with anticipation and hidden anxiety. Naruto had woken up early, her divine eye glowing softly, reflecting her inner harmony and readiness for new discoveries. She knew that her journey was just beginning, and that trials lay ahead that would test both her strength and her spirit. Her thoughts raced as she prepared for another day of training. What is the real purpose of what we seek? Could the ancient scrolls reveal secrets that would change our world? And how can I use my abilities to protect my friends and all of Konoha? These questions spurred her on and made her heart beat faster. Sasuke, Itachi, and Konan were already waiting at the training ground. Sasuke stood motionless, his black eyes scanning the horizon, as if he sensed something important. His thoughts were a complex knot of feelings and responsibilities. I must be a support for Naruko. Her gift is immense, and studying it is connected to my own role in this process. But how can I balance protection with my personal feelings? He felt his heart reaching out to her more and more, and it both gave him strength and made him question his restraint. Itachi, studying the scrolls in the corner of the room, allowed himself only a brief glance at the group. He watched Naruko with a hint of pride and hope, but a shadow of apprehension hovered in his thoughts. This ancient knowledge could open the door to unpredictable consequences. I must guide it carefully, anticipating possible threats, so as not to make mistakes. Konan, always thoughtful and practical, was thinking about how to organize the day ahead. Her thoughts were full of concern. We need to plan our training to prepare for possible encounters with mysterious forces. Naruto is especially vulnerable now, her gift attracts both friends and enemies. We need to minimize the risks and provide her with a calm environment for studying. On this day, they decided to focus on improving their control over the divine eye through meditation and combat exercises. Naruto sat in the center of the room, surrounded by Sasuke and Konan, preparing for deep meditation. Her thoughts kept returning to the symbols she had seen and the sense of a presence beyond their visible world. Focus on your breathing, Konan reminded gently. Feel connected to everything around you. Your divine eye is a guide, not an end in itself. Naruko closed her eyes, and her inner speech filled with subtle fragments of memories and sensations. Ghostly echoes of the past began to appear in her mind, images of ancient masters, scenes of great battles, and moments of peaceful coexistence between humans and nature. She saw flickering faces that were somehow connected to her visions, but their meanings remained unclear. I feel their presence. Is this a greeting or a warning? She wondered, calming herself and filling herself with new thoughts at the same time. Maybe the ancestors are trying to guide me. Their wisdom is transmitted through my gift, and I need to learn to understand it. Sasuke, sitting across from her, watched her meditative state. His heart filled with respect and tenderness. Inside, he thought, when she goes into these states, it's like she's open to the world. My job is to provide her with comfort and protection so she can freely explore her gift. I have to be there, ready to support her if something goes wrong. Over time, Naruko began to feel the divine eye opening up new levels of perception. Her inner world became filled with subtle fragments of knowledge that seemed forgotten since ancient times. She caught snippets of ancient prayers and mantras, mysterious symbols that connected her to the past. Sasuke and Conan gradually joined her. They allowed themselves to move away a little, leaving her alone for the time of her meditation, but continued to watch to make sure she was safe. Several hours passed, and Naruko slowly opened her eyes. Her face glowed with inner calm, despite the turmoil she had experienced. She felt her gift deepen, and her connection to the world around her grow stronger. I felt something strange, she said quietly, turning to Sasuke and Kanana. It felt like the past had found me, and I had a partial revelation. These symbols, they were revealed to me, but the meaning is still not entirely clear. Sasuke stepped closer, his voice soft but firm. We've done a great job, Naruko. Your revelations are just the beginning. Over time, we'll decipher them together, and your gift will become even more powerful. The main thing is to believe in yourself and not be afraid to move forward. Conan smiled, supporting Sasuke's words. You are making great strides forward. We are always here to help and support you. Inside Naruko, her heart filled with gratitude and confidence. She knew that her path was littered with mysteries and trials, but with such friends and mentors by her side, she was ready to face any challenge. Her divine eye was no longer just a gift, it was the key to her future, and she was determined to use it for good. As they left the training hall, the evening sky outside the window filled with stars, as if welcoming their determination and unity. Each of them pondered their thoughts and feelings in silence, knowing that together they could understand even the most difficult mysteries and protect the world from the encroaching shadows. The End. Chapter 10. Chapter 11, Prophetic Dream. Night had fallen after a long day of research and training. In the silence of her room, Naruko lay in bed, her divine eye slowly closing, allowing her to rest. However, this time, her sleep was filled with strange and symbolic images, as if her consciousness was searching for answers beyond the daytime awareness. In her dream, she found herself on an ancient battlefield, illuminated by moonlight. Around her were figures in ancient armor, whose faces she could not discern, but she felt their calm and determination. Each figure held symbols in their hands, reminiscent of those she had seen in her last visions and scrolls. The voices of these ancient warriors reached her in whispers, their thoughts penetrating the boundary between sleep and reality. What do they want to tell me? Naruko wondered in her sleep, feeling her divine eye open a stream of knowledge to her. One of the warriors approached, his eyes sparkling with the wisdom of the ages, and he spoke slowly. The future is a reflection of the past. Your power will help restore balance, but remember, true wisdom comes with acceptance of your destiny. The words echoed in her mind, filling her heart with a mixture of fear and hope. She saw herself at the intersection of worlds, between the present and events yet to come. The prophetic dream was a window into the future, and now she had to figure out how to use this knowledge to protect her loved ones and her world. Waking up with a sudden flutter in her heart, Naruko felt the dream leave a deep mark. Her thoughts strove to return to the images and words of the ancient warrior. Her divine eye seemed to glow with a soft inner light, as if acknowledging her readiness for new revelations. She quietly whispered to herself, I am ready to meet my destiny, whatever it brings. The next day, Naruko shared her impressions of the dream with Sasuke and Conan. Sasuke listened carefully, trying to catch any hints of anxiety or doubt in her voice, but seeing the determination in her eyes, he realized that she had taken away an important message from the dream. His thoughts flowed in quiet promises. I will be there for her, help her understand these signs, and support her in any trials. Our path will be difficult, but together we will cope. Conan, writing down the details of the dream in her notebook, pondered the meaning of these prophetic images and what new steps they should take. She felt that with each passing day, Naruko was getting closer to discovering her true destiny, and her heart swelled with pride for the young shinobi. Itachi, meanwhile, was immersed in studying ancient manuscripts, trying to find references to prophetic dreams and their meanings. His thoughts were focused on how to guide Naruko so that she could understand her vision and find the connection between her gift and the upcoming events. He whispered softly, "May the light of knowledge illuminate her path, and her heart guide her through the shadows of doubt." Thus began a new phase in their journey together, a period of profound revelation and preparation for great changes. Naruto's prophetic dream became the starting point for her search for the truth that would lead her to unravel the mystery of the divine eye and her purpose in the shinobi world. The End. Chapter 11. Chapter 12, The Path to Unity. Naruko awoke early in the morning with a clear sense of a new beginning. The prophetic dream had left a deep mark on her soul, filling her with determination and enlightenment. The divine eye glowed with a soft light, reflecting her inner harmony. She knew that her path to unraveling her destiny led through the unification of strength, wisdom, and faith in herself. "Good morning, Naruko," Sasuke said quietly as he entered her room. He noticed her calm expression and the soft glint in her eyes. His own thoughts were swirling inside. "I feel like there's something more going on between us. Her power is growing, and I want to be there to guide her and protect her. But how do I balance my feelings with my responsibilities?" He took a deep breath, trying to focus on the present moment and support her. Naruto smiled, meeting his gaze. "Sasuke, today is a special day. My heart is full of determination to move forward, and I feel like we are getting closer to understanding our purpose." "I feel it too, Naruko," Sasuke replied softly, his voice filled with confidence and tenderness, but underneath there was a quiet worry about the future. Conan entered the room with cups of hot tea. Her caring voice broke the silence. "Hello, guys. I brought tea. I hope it will give you strength and clarity." Naruko accepted the cup, her thoughts turning once more to her recent prophetic dream. A sense of oneness with the world formed within her, as if her divine eye had been attuned to a deep harmony. She looked at Sasuke and said, "I think it's time we joined forces and walked together toward the future. My gift is a part of us, and it will help us find the answers if we work together." Sasuke nodded, feeling warmth in his chest. His thoughts were full of determination. "We must become one to overcome all obstacles. Our unity is our greatest resource." Itachi, who had arrived later, entered the room as Naruto's last words echoed in the air. He looked at the young shinobi carefully. "You are right. Unity is the key. But remember, true strength comes from within, from the harmony between body, mind, and soul. Together, you can unlock the potential of the divine eye and protect Konoha." Naruko felt a deep gratitude towards Itachi. Words flashed through her mind, "I feel supported and guided by him. His wisdom helps me gain confidence in my abilities." During the day, they focused on developing a plan to study the prophetic signs and strengthen their skills. Each member of the group contributed. Conan broke down the tasks into logical steps, Itachi delved into texts to find answers, and Sasuke and Naruto practiced their synergy in combat techniques and meditation. Naruko felt an invisible connection between her and Sasuke growing stronger. Their conversations between training sessions gradually shifted from tactics to more personal topics. One evening on the coast, under the starry sky, Naruko decided to share her deepest feelings with Sasuke. "Sasuke, I feel that our alliance is not just that of student and teacher or comrades in arms. There is something more between us that I cannot fully explain," she began, her voice shaking with emotion, the divine eye reflecting her sincerity and willingness to open up. Sasuke looked at her sincerely, his thoughts quickly clearing up. This is the moment I've been waiting for. She trusts me, and I share these feelings, despite all the difficulties. He took her hand gently, their eyes met, and a wordless understanding passed between them. I feel something special too, Naruko. Our feelings are part of our path. They give us strength and make us one. Naruko smiled through tears of joy. An inner voice was ringing in her head, Sasuke understands me. Together, we can move forward, despite everything. Our hearts and strength united for a greater purpose. Their feelings added confidence and harmony to their actions together. In the following days, they worked even more harmoniously. Naruko felt Sasuke's support not only as an ally, but also as someone who shared a deep connection with her. Their training together became a manifestation of this unity, and even Itachi's sternness and Konana's practicality found a response to their common goal. One evening, sitting by the fire in the shade of a huge tree, Konan quietly remarked, "Your unity is your strength. But remember, you must pay attention to other aspects of life, so as not to lose your humanity in the search for answers." Naruko nodded, her thoughts calm. I know that our feelings and unity will help us get through the trials, but it is also important to remember humanity and love for others. This is part of our strength. Sasuke looked at her with a soft smile and added, "Together, we can do so much, Naruko. Our journey is just beginning, and I'm proud to walk it with you." Itachi, watching from afar, quietly said to himself, "The young have found a union in love and unity. Their future is full of hope, but there is still much to learn and prepare for. Let their hearts be the light in this darkness." Naruko felt her divine eye fill with a warm light of harmony, reflecting her inner unity with the people around her. She knew that difficult trials lay ahead, but now she was ready to face them with an open heart and faith in the union that united their powers. The End. Chapter 12. Chapter 13, Test of Faith. Several days had passed since Naruto and Sasuke had solidified their unity. Their alliance had become a stronghold for the group as they continued to investigate the prophetic signs and prepare for the coming threat. Each of them felt a growing responsibility and strength that came from their mutual trust, but with it came new challenges that would test their faith and loyalty. The morning in Konoha greeted them with a new mission. Itachi gathered a small group of Naruto, Sasuke, Konana, and several senior shinobi to discuss recent findings in ancient texts. The atmosphere in the room was tense, but everyone present felt the warmth of a united will. Itachi began, "Our research has led us to a new revelation. These ancient texts mention a ritual that can unlock the power of the divine eye to a new level, but it requires a sacrifice of faith and devotion to perform." Naruko felt her heart skip a beat. Her thoughts were filled with anxiety. What does sacrifice of faith mean? Will I be able to pass this test, even if I don't know where it will lead? Sasuke followed Itachi's speech closely, his eyes remaining focused on Naruko. He felt that the test would challenge their alliance and willpower. Thoughts swirled in his head, I am ready to support her, no matter what awaits us. Our feelings are what make us stronger. Itachi continued, the ritual will require your full commitment and acceptance of the unknown. It will take you on an inner journey so that you can connect with your ancestors and discover new facets of your gift. It will be a difficult test, but it is necessary to strengthen your powers and understand your true role. Naruko felt her divine eye flicker slightly in time with her inner turmoil. She took a deep breath, trying to gain clarity in her thoughts. She looked at Sasuke, who nodded firmly in response. Their eyes met, and in this silent communication, they exchanged support and determination. I believe in him, and he believes in me, Naruko thought. We will go through this test together. I am ready to give a part of myself for our common good. Konan gently placed her hand on her shoulder and said, Naruko, I will be with you through every step of this ritual. Remember, you are not alone. We will all support you. The ritual was scheduled for the night at a sacred place deep in the forest, where the ancient powers were especially strong. Evening fell, and the group set out. Naruko felt a mixture of emotions, fear of the unknown, excitement at the challenge ahead, and a deep affection for Sasuke, who walked beside her, holding her hand. As they approached the sacred site, the air became filled with the soft whispers of the ancestors. Naruko felt her divine eye respond to this subtle flow of energy, expanding its perception. Images of past generations and ancient rituals appeared in her mind, echoes of which now penetrated her consciousness. In a clearing surrounded by ancient stones and hidden from view, the group stopped. Itachi, in the center of the circle, began the ceremony. He recited spells that echoed through the forest, and soft lights flared around him, illuminating the faces of those present. Naruko felt her heart begin to beat faster. Konan, next to her, quietly whispered words of encouragement, and Sasuke held her hand tightly, transmitting his strength and confidence. Itachi pointed at Naruko, "Now is the time for you to trust your heart and open yourself to the ancient powers. The divine eye is not just a tool, but a key to a deep connection with your ancestors. Embrace this connection, and it will bring you new understanding and strength." At that moment, Naruko closed her eyes, focusing her chakra and the divine eye. A flood of visions began to flow through her mind, images of her ancestors, scenes of ancient rituals, prophecies of future events. She felt her soul opening up, connecting with the vast flow of energy that permeated all existence. Her thoughts were filled with both fear and trepidation. "I feel the full weight of this connection. But I am ready. I believe that this will help us protect the world and find new understanding." Her internal monologue grew stronger as she felt her spirit rise above the material world, reaching into the depths of time. She saw the threads of fate intertwining, creating a complex picture of the future. In this state, she felt her love for Sasuke and her faith in their union fill her with strength. Sasuke, seeing her ecstasy and suffering at the same time, quietly whispered, "I'm here with you, Naruko. You're not alone. Hold on." Her heart responded to his words, and she felt faith and love unite, strengthening her spirit. The ritual reached its climax when her divine eye blossomed with a brilliant light, reflecting the immense flow of energy she had just experienced. In that moment, her consciousness was filled with the understanding that their union was not just love, but a force capable of changing the course of history. When the ritual was complete, Itachi approached Naruko, holding her shoulder. "You have shown incredible strength and faith. This experience has expanded your capabilities and deepened your connection with your ancestors. Use this knowledge wisely." Naruto, still enchanted by the visions she had experienced, said quietly, "Thank you, Itachi. I feel like my path has become clearer now. I understand that together with Sasuke, we can face any difficulties and uncover the secrets that lie ahead." Sasuke looked at her tenderly, his thoughts full of pride and love. "We've been through this together. Now our bond is stronger than ever. Our combined strength is our stronghold." Konan, watching them closely, wrote down in her notebook the new details of Naruto's experiences and the advice Itachi had given her. Her thoughts revolved around the importance of maintaining spiritual balance and how closely intertwined each of their inner worlds were with the common cause. The first signs of change in Naruto were obvious to everyone. Her divine eye became stable, her connection with Sasuke deepened, and her inner world became filled with confidence and clarity. She knew that there were still many challenges ahead, but now she was ready to face them head-on, relying on self-confidence, love, and the power of unity. As the ritual ended and night fell over Konoha, Naruko looked up at the starry sky, feeling her path illuminated by the light of her ancestors and the bond she shared with Sasuke. Her thoughts echoed quietly in her soul, "I am ready. Together, we will get through anything. Our union is our strength, and no shadows of the past can stop us." The end. Chapter 13. Chapter 14, Shadow over Konoha. After the profound ritual, the returning shinobi felt a growing tension in the air. Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, and Konan returned to Konoha with new knowledge and a strengthened alliance, but with it, a new shadow awaited them, an undefined threat looming over the village. Night had fallen over Konoha, and the villagers were preparing for bed, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. Naruto lay on her bed, her mind full of thoughts about the ritual that had just taken place. The divine eye rested peacefully, reflecting her inner harmony, but deep within her, there was a slight uneasiness. We have strengthened our unity and revealed some of the secrets, but what now? She wondered. What threat is looming over Konoha? How can we resist it using our strength and knowledge? Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft knock on the door. It was Sasuke, who entered her room with a stern expression. His internal struggle between wanting to protect her and worrying about what was to come was evident in every movement. "Naruko, I have something to tell you," he began, his voice quiet but insistent. "I sense strange things happening in our village. People are whispering about shadow powers that are only visible to those with special vision." Naruko sat up, listening intently to his every word. Her divine eye registered subtle changes in Sasuke's aura, reflecting his anxiety. Thoughts flashed through her mind. What is the nature of these rumors? Are they related to what we saw in our visions? We must be prepared for anything, Sasuke continued. Itachi reported some warnings in the ancient texts, but I believe the time has come to act. At that moment, the door swung open and Itachi walked in. His face was calm, but his eyes betrayed a hidden tension. "I heard your conversations," he said quietly. "There are signs that Konoha may be facing a new threat that requires our attention. We should join forces and begin reconnaissance." Konan, standing by the door, nodded, writing down the details of their discussion in her notebook. Her thoughts were practical and cautious. We need to gather as much information as possible about what's going on. Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, your connection and strength will be key to this process. We must act quickly, but wisely. Naruto stood up from her seat, her inner monologue full of determination. We have been through the trials, and now, despite the fear, I am ready to face any shadow. Together with Sasuke and our mentors, we can protect Konoha. Sasuke walked up to Naruko, carefully taking her hand. "Come on, we'll go explore the northern outskirts of the village. There have been chakra anomalies detected there, and I think it might be related to the threat Itachi was talking about." Itachi nodded, adding, "Take care of each other. Use your gifts and abilities to remain invisible and gather information. Our unity is our strength." The group of 4 shinobi, armed not only with weapons but also with trust in each other, set out. Konan gave them brief instructions and left a small group to provide support and communicate with the base. Naruko walked ahead, her divine eye alert, picking up on the slightest changes in her surroundings. Her thoughts became clearer with each passing minute. Sasuke is with us, and that gives me confidence. Together, we can withstand any challenge. Our alliance is our support. But what if we run into something we can't foresee? Sasuke, walking beside him, felt a sense of responsibility for Naruko. I must protect her at all costs. Our feelings give us strength, but we cannot let them blind us. We must be alert and focused. In the shadows of the forest, they found the first signs of abnormal energy, weak vibrations of chakra that Naruko could detect with her gift. She stopped, feeling her heart beat faster. There is something here. We are approaching the source. Sasuke looked closer and felt the same vibration. Stay close, he said, be on guard. Their thoughts merged into a single focus on the task ahead. Naruko remembered the prophetic dream and the ancient symbols that could warn them of the coming test. We stand on the threshold of a momentous discovery. Our actions here will determine the future of Konoha. I must be strong to lead us forward. As they moved through the forest, they began to see more signs, ancient ruins covered in mysterious symbols that resembled those Naruko had seen in her visions. These places seemed forgotten for centuries, but now they took on new meaning. Suddenly, a dark aura appeared before the group. Naruko felt her divine eye fill with disturbing hues, and her thoughts were filled with a sense of impending danger. This is what we feared. What now? Sasuke tensed, his inner voice screaming, I have to be there for her, protect her. Together, we can stand against any evil. Itachi gave a silent sign, and the group braced themselves for the potential confrontation. Together, they stepped forward, their hearts and spirits united in the face of the unknown, trusting that their union and the power of the divine eye would help them overcome any obstacle. The end. Chapter 14. Chapter 15, Confrontation with the Shadow. The dense forest around the clearing seemed almost alive, its shadows hiding any trace of the approaching threat from view. Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, and Conan felt their every step echo in the silence as they carefully moved forward. Their hearts beat faster, and their thoughts were entwined around the coming confrontation with an unknown evil. Naruko walked ahead, her divine eye straining to detect subtle changes in the chakra flow. She felt a mixture of fear and determination building within her. This is the moment I have been dreading and yearning for. I know our alliance and my power will help us, but will I be able to withstand the test that lies ahead, she wondered, feeling her gaze drift into the shadows of the dense forest. Sasuke walked beside her, holding her hand tightly. His thoughts merged with the rhythm of his steps. I must be a support for Naruko. The love and loyalty I feel for her gives me strength, but the fear for her safety does not leave me. We are together, and this strengthens us. I cannot allow our connection to become a weakness at this hour. Itachi walked behind, carefully studying the surroundings with his sharp eyes. He thought quietly. The shadow we are about to face could be an ancient evil or an uncontrollable phenomenon. I need to control the situation and guide them without directly interfering, so that they learn to rely on their own strength. Their unity is what will be their stronghold. Conan, who was walking closer to the group, was running through her plan of action in her mind. Her analytical mind was focusing on tactics. We need to work together. If this shadow shows itself as an enemy, I must support them with strategic directions. But so far, all we can see are abnormal energy spikes. We must figure out what awaits us next. Suddenly the air around them thickened, and Naruko felt her divine eye strengthen, picking up on the flickering of dark energy ahead. She paused, trying to focus, and said quietly, "There's something here. I can feel a strong flow of chakra." Sasuke tensed, his hand tightening around hers. He glanced in the direction Naruko had pointed, and her words brought a sense of urgency. "Stay alert," he said quietly, "we're close." Meanwhile, shapes began to emerge from the darkness in the distance. At first, they were mere shadows, but then they took form, ancient, almost ghostly shapes, surrounded by a dark energy. These creatures seemed to be creatures of the darkness itself, ancient guardians, or revelations of a forgotten curse. Naruko closed her eyes for a moment, her mind filled with memories from the prophetic dream and the knowledge she had gained during the ritual. Her thoughts were clear, I can see them. This is what I was so afraid of. But my faith and the support of my friends will help me get through this. She opened her eyes, and her gaze shone with the bright light of the divine eye, directed at a point in front of them. With her word, the energy around her began to change. We do not seek conflict with you. Her voice sounded firm and calm, but not aggressive. We come with peace and knowledge. Allow us to understand what brought you to this world of darkness. The creatures stopped, their dark forms wavering slowly. Sasuke, standing next to Naruko, watched the guests' reactions carefully, his inner voice filled with a readiness to fight, but also with hope for a peaceful solution. If we can understand their motives, perhaps we can find common ground. But I will not allow the threat to turn against us. Time seemed to stand still as the dark figures approached, and one of them, his face covered in mysterious runes, spoke in an ancient voice, "You, the owner of the divine eye, of whom I have heard in legends. What do you seek, child of light?" Naruko felt a tremor in her chest, but her inner monologue was filled with courage. This is not just a test, this is a moment of truth. I must speak to them to understand their intentions, and keep the peace. I have come to seek the truth, she replied, her voice quiet but confident. I wish to use my gift to restore balance and prevent destruction. Together with my friends, we will fight the darkness if necessary. The creatures looked at each other, their dark energy began to change color, becoming less hostile. The voice of the same creature was heard again, truth and balance. Perhaps our paths cross. But to continue, you must pass another test your faith and strength of spirit. Naruko squeezed Sasuke's hand, feeling his support. A strong determination sounded in her thoughts, I am ready, together we will pass through this test. Our faith and unity are our strength. Sasuke quietly added, "We're with you, Naruko. No matter the trials, I'm here for you." The dark figures began to move more slowly, as if preparing for some important ritual or test. Itachi and Konan watched from the shadows, their thoughts focused on supporting the group and maintaining balance in the situation. Konan thought, Naruko and Sasuke must go through this ordeal, but they are not alone. We have prepared a plan for any eventuality. The main thing is their faith in themselves and each other. Naruko approached the creatures, her divine eye registering the smallest changes in their energetic appearance. She felt the test already beginning inside her consciousness. She had to expose her fears, doubts, and find the purity and strength within herself that could resist the darkness. "Let your test begin," she said, looking directly at the glowing symbol on one of the creatures. At that moment, a flash of light appeared around them, and Naruko felt herself being transported into the depths of her mind, to where her deepest fears and hopes collided with the ancient darkness. Sasuke held her hand tightly on the outer plane, his thoughts filled with prayers for her safety. "Let her pass this test. I am ready to fight for her until my last breath." Thus began Naruto's new inner journey, a test of faith, strength, and unity that would determine her readiness to embrace her destiny and become Konoha's true protector. The End. Chapter 15. Chapter 16, Return from the Darkness. The darkness around Naruko grew thick as she was transported into her own mind, as the test had predicted. She felt herself surrounded by a shadow that reflected her deepest fears and doubts. Her inner world was distorted, filled with ghostly images of the past and the sorrow hidden in the depths of her soul. What is this place? Naruko wondered, feeling the cold emptiness. Her divine eye glowed with a dim light, trying to dispel the gloom. But inside her, there was darkness, where the images of her fears constantly merged: the fear of losing the connection with Sasuke, the fear of not living up to the expectations of her mentors, and the fear of meeting an ancient entity that could consume her spirit. Lost in these thoughts, she saw the silhouette of a young woman in front of her, her face covered in shadows, and her eyes reflecting hopelessness. It was her image, but distorted by fear and doubt. Naruko realized that it was a projection of her deepest fears of losing her true self under the onslaught of dark forces. "Have you come to be afraid?" a voice asked, as if from the very bottom of her consciousness. The voice sounded both familiar and alien, causing a shudder to swirl in her heart. Naruko gathered all her will, her thoughts growing louder. "I came here to embrace my fears and become stronger. I won't let the darkness control me." Her words echoed in the darkness, and a faint light began to slowly flicker around her. The woman's silhouette began to dissolve, and in its place appeared the image of Sasuke. In her inner vision, he stood next to her, his face calm, his eyes full of support. "Are you with me?" Naruto thought, feeling his presence fill her with determination. "I'm always by your side, Naruko," Sasuke's quiet voice rang out in her thoughts. "Together, we can defeat any darkness, even the one hidden within ourselves." With these words, the darkness within her began to dissipate. Her divine eye began to shine brighter, filling with warmth and light. She felt her fears fade away, giving way to an inner peace and confidence. The visions became less frightening, and the images of ancient shadows became mere echoes of the past, no longer having power over her. Feeling that the ordeal was over, Naruko began to return from her inner journey. Light began to penetrate the darkness, and she felt a slight tingling sensation in her body, a signal that her consciousness was ready to return to the real world. Her thoughts were now clear and focused on what she had learned from the experience. When her eyes slowly opened, she found herself back in the clearing, surrounded by Sasuke, Itachi, and Konan. The moonlight softly illuminated their friends' faces, and their eyes reflected worry and relief. Naruko looked at each of them, her voice shaking, but her words firm. "I have been through the darkness. I have embraced my fears and found the light within myself. This trial has shown me that I am not alone. My strength grows because you are by my side." Sasuke squeezed her hand, his voice quiet and sincere. "I'm proud of you, Naruko. You've shown incredible courage and faith. Now that you've overcome that fear, our bond has grown even stronger." Itachi nodded, his face full of respect. you have proven yourself worthy of your gift. Let this experience be a reminder that strength comes from accepting yourself, fears and doubts included." Konan smiled, her thoughts full of relief. Naruko was able to pass the test. It strengthened her spirit and our team. Now we are ready for any difficulties. The night continued quietly, and the shinobi gathered around the fire, discussing what had happened. The atmosphere was filled with a sense of unity, warmth, and understanding. Naruko felt her inner light spread smoothly to those around her, giving them confidence and peace. She realized that it was through her trials that she gained a true understanding of her power and purpose. Her divine eye was not just a gift, it was a symbol of her inner resilience and ability to overcome the darkness. Together with Sasuke, Itachi, and Konan, she was ready to face any challenges that the future would bring. The end. Chapter 16. Chapter 17, Call of the Ancestors. Awakening from her ordeal in the darkness brought Naruko new clarity and fresh energy. She understood that her divine eye had become not only a symbol of power, but also a tool for connecting with her ancestors and the world itself. Her inner light now glowed with confidence, and she felt a deep connection with each of her mentors and friends. The next day, a group of shinobi gathered in the Konoha Academy training hall. The atmosphere was filled with anticipation of new knowledge and upcoming challenges. Itachi and Konan prepared materials for further study of the ancient scrolls. Sasuke and Naruto continued to hone their combat skills and deepen their spiritual connection. Naruko felt her divine eye gradually opening deeper. Every time she closed her eyes to meditate, her inner world was filled with images of her ancestors, their wisdom and advice. Her thoughts at that moment were filled with a sense of awe. I feel their presence. Their energies help me and guide me along the path I must take. Now I can hear their call. One evening, after several hours of intense training, Naruko found herself alone in a small temple on the outskirts of Konoha. Sasuke was with her, coming to support her and be with her during her moments of deep meditation. With the light of flickering torches reflected in the ancient frescoes, she settled down on the floor, closed her eyes, and concentrated. Naruko's divine eye slowly began to glow, and a quiet whisper began to echo in her mind. The images of her ancestors grew brighter, and one of them appeared before her, a majestic shinobi whose eyes sparkled with wisdom and calm. He extended his hand in greeting, and Naruko felt a warmth spreading within her. "Naruko, child of the light gift," the voice whispered, full of empathy and ancient power, "it is time to embrace your true path. Your connection to your ancestors opens the door to knowledge that will help Konoha in its hour of need." Naruko took a deep breath, her thoughts intertwined with her ancestors' voice. "I am ready to accept this call. May my faith in myself and those around me help me gain wisdom and strength." She, feeling Sasuke's support nearby, quietly said, "I will accept your call and will believe in the light even in the darkest times." At that moment, her divine eye shone with incredible brightness, as if reflecting the very heart of her ancestors, and her inner world was filled with knowledge. She learned of ancient techniques that could strengthen her spirit and protect her friends, as well as prophecies that warned of impending changes. Sasuke, watching this, felt their connection deepen. Thoughts of support and tenderness flashed through his mind. Her connection to her ancestors gives her incredible strength. I will be there to help her use this knowledge for the benefit of us all. When the meditation ended, Naruko opened her eyes. Her face was calm, and her gaze was full of determination and peace. She felt her ancestors filling her with new energy and wisdom, ready for action. The next day, the group gathered to share their discoveries. Naruto spoke of the visions she had received, the ancient techniques and prophecies that were now her guide. Itachi confirmed the value of this knowledge, and Konan captured new scrolls and notes for future reference. There was a quiet hope and a willingness to take action in their conversations. "We must use these gifts to protect Konoha and restore balance," Naruko said, her voice confident and calm. "With you, I feel like I can face any challenge." Sasuke took her hand and added, "Our alliance and your connection to your ancestors will give us the strength to deal with any threat. We are ready for the future, whatever it may be." Thus, a new strength was born in their hearts, a unity strengthened by the wisdom of their ancestors and love for each other. The chapter ended with a warm light breaking through the clouds, a symbol of their hope and determination to move forward, armed with knowledge and unity, ready to face the shadow over Konoha and any trials that lay ahead. The end. Chapter 17. Chapter 18, Awakening the Power of the Ancestors. Night had fallen over Konoha, and its inhabitants were almost unaware of the events taking place outside of their village. However, in the souls of those who possessed the divine eye, there was an unusual anxiety and hope. Naruko slept in the shade of a large tree on the outskirts of the village, her mind continuing to process the prophetic visions and ancestral wisdom gained from her recent meditations. In her dreams, she saw images of ancient warriors whom she now felt to be her mentors. They stood on a battlefield, the moonlight illuminating their determined faces. Their presence filled her with a sense of power and a deep connection to the world, as if the earth itself were whispering to her of her destiny. Now it was time to act, Naruto thought in her sleep, to use the knowledge she had gained to protect Konoha and her friends. Her dream was vivid and intense. She saw symbols floating in the air, heard echoes of ancient voices, and felt her chakra pulsing in unison with the rhythms of nature. Gradually, the images of her ancestors began to flicker, transmitting information about ancient techniques that could strengthen her connection with the divine eye and enhance her combat skills. At dawn. Awakening from this dream, Naruko felt an unusual lightness. Her eyes shone with new reflections of wisdom, and her inner strength felt continuous and steady. She knew that her connection with her ancestors had become even stronger, and she was now able to draw from it in times of need. The next day at the Konoha Academy, the atmosphere was tense but exhilarating. Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, and Konan were gathered in a hall to discuss their next steps after the vision. The walls of the hall were decorated with ancient artifacts that now served as sources of inspiration and reminders of the great past. Naruko began to speak with gentle confidence. In my prophetic dream, I received revelations about ancient techniques. They teach us to strengthen the connection with our ancestors and use that connection for protection. I feel that I can now open up new horizons to my gift. Sasuke, listening carefully, noticed the changes in her divine eye. It had become brighter, more stable. His thoughts were filled with respect and caution. She continues to grow in strength and wisdom. Together, we can use this knowledge to protect our home. Itachi added, this knowledge is incredibly valuable. We must systematically study the methods your dream revealed to you and integrate them into our defensive strategies. But remember, power comes with caution and responsibility. Konan, filling the pages of her notebook, proposed a plan. I will gather all the texts available to us related to these techniques and begin analyzing them. Naruto, you can train to learn new ways to interact with the ancestors through your gift. Sasuke, your task is to develop combat tactics based on this new wisdom. For several days, they immersed themselves in learning new techniques. Naruko spent hours in meditation, channeling her senses into strengthening her connection with the spirits of her ancestors. Each time she entered a trance state, she felt the images of her ancient mentors come to her, conveying advice and reassurance. During one of these moments, she saw one of her ancestors present her with a scroll filled with ancient symbols and instructions. The images seemed so real that she could almost touch them. Her thoughts were filled with admiration. This is the manual given to me by the ancestors themselves. I must memorize every detail and pass this knowledge on to Sasuke and the others. Meanwhile, Sasuke and Itachi worked on plans to defend Konoha. Their training together became more coordinated, and their tactics became more sophisticated and thoughtful. Sasuke felt his trust in Naruto growing, and their bond became the foundation for their strategy. One evening, after a long day of practice, Naruko and Sasuke were alone on the roof of the academy, looking up at the starry sky. Their faces were illuminated by the soft light of the moon, and a silence filled with mutual understanding reigned between them. Naruto, Sasuke began quietly, I feel our bond becoming unbreakable. Your visions and connection to your ancestors give us new strength. I want you to know that I am here, and together we will overcome any shadow that threatens our world. Naruko turned to him, her eyes full of gratitude and confidence. she thought, Sasuke is my rock. His faith in me strengthens my own. Together, we can reach heights we never dreamed of before. Thank you, Sasuke. I feel that with your support and the wisdom of my ancestors, I can protect those I love. Our path is difficult, but I believe that together we can overcome it, she replied. A soft breeze blew, and the night was filled with the soft whisper of leaves. They sat side by side, feeling a deep harmony between them, strengthened by new knowledge and mutual faith. Their hearts beat in unison, ready to face the coming trials, relying on the strength of their ancestors, unity, and love. The end. Chapter 18. Chapter 19, Separated Paths and United Hearts. Morning in Konoha arrived with a light fog covering the ancient streets. Naruto awoke in her room, feeling both calm and tense, a sense of foreboding in the air. The bond with their ancestors had grown stronger in the past few days, but with it came a sense that their path would soon split, leading them to a common test. Sitting by the window, Naruko watched the first rays of sunlight dance across the school roof. Her thoughts wandered in unison with the soft light. My visions are becoming clearer, and I feel like the time is coming when I will have to make a difficult choice. Will I be able to withstand the trials that fate has in store for me and preserve the bond that unites me with Sasuke and all of us? That same morning, in the next room, Sasuke was preparing for an important meeting with Itachi and other senior ninja, discussing the upcoming events. His eyes were focused, but deep down he felt a warm feeling for Naruko that competed with his duty and obligations. He thought, I have to be strong for her, but my feelings could get in the way. How do I find the balance between protecting Naruko and maintaining professionalism? Meanwhile, Itachi was making final preparations for the meeting in the conference room. His thoughts were running quietly. Naruto is growing strong and wise, but the trials that await us will test us all. I must guide them, but at the same time give them space to make their own choices and mistakes. Let their hearts find the answers themselves. Konan, always practical and caring, was pondering a plan of action. Her notebooks were filled with notes and diagrams. We must combine our knowledge to face this new threat. Naruto, with her gift, is the key to understanding the secrets hidden in the shadows. It is important to provide her with comfort and support so that her power can be fully revealed. In the conference room, Naruko, Sasuke, Itachi, and Konan gathered with a group of senior ninja. The discussion began with alarming news. Signs of unusual phenomena and impending danger began to appear throughout the region. The elders spoke of shadows in the hearts of people, foreshadowing chaos and destruction. Naruko felt her divine eye filling with dark hues, foreshadowing something significant. Itachi opened the meeting. Our intelligence indicates that the shadow looming over Konoha has deep roots in ancient events. We must prepare for the greatest challenge that lies ahead. Naruto, your gift will help us learn more about the nature of this threat. Naruko nodded, feeling a sense of responsibility and inner strength. Her thoughts resounded loudly in her head. This is my chance to use the divine eye for good. But I also feel like I'm about to face a personal challenge that could change everything. Sasuke spoke up. We must work together. Konan, your job is to organize the collection of all available information on this strange phenomena. Itachi, continue analyzing the ancient scrolls. Naruto and I will go on reconnaissance in the northern forests, where the energy seems to be the most abnormal. Naruko felt a slight surge of excitement about the upcoming mission. Together with Sasuke, she would explore the territory where danger had become almost tangible. I am ready. Together with Sasuke, we can face any evil. Having him by my side makes me stronger, she thought, holding his hand tighter. Having gathered the necessary supplies and equipment, Naruko and Sasuke left the academy with a small group of experienced ninja. Their path led them through dense forests, where every sound and rustle seemed to be a harbinger of the unknown. With each step, Naruko felt her connection to her ancestors grow stronger. Her divine eye captured the smallest changes in the chakra flows, recording them deep within her consciousness. In the silence of the forest, Sasuke never stopped being by her side, holding his hand on her shoulder and occasionally exchanging short words of support, everything will be fine. We will cope together, he said, and her heart filled with warmth. But questions raged inside her. What if this threat was greater than we could ever imagine? Will I be able to use everything I've learned to protect Konoha and the people I love? Soon they came to a place where the energy was especially dense. Here the forest thickened and the air was filled with tension. Naruko stopped, focusing her divine eye on the trees around her. An inner whisper of her ancestors sounded in her head, reminding her that now was the moment of truth. Sasuke, I sense that we are close to the source. Let's be careful, she said, her voice full of determination. Sasuke nodded and readied his weapon. His thoughts were clear. We are ready. Naruto is strong, and together we can handle any shadow. They moved forward slowly, sensing the presence of something ancient and powerful. Each step they took was accompanied by the soft rustling of leaves and the echo of their own breaths. Naruko felt her heart sinking with the rhythms of nature, her divine eye remaining sharp and alert. Suddenly, the air around them began to shimmer, and shimmering shapes appeared before them, echoes of ancient tragedies that had once shaken this land. Naruko clenched her fists, feeling a mixture of sadness, determination, and a readiness to fight. Her inner monologue was, "These are harbingers of things to come. They remind me why I am here, and the role I must play. I will not retreat." Sasuke, seeing her determination, said quietly, "Together, we will pass through any shadow. I am with you, Naruko." These words gave her new strength. She opened her eyes, and their divine eyes met, exchanging understanding and support. Together, they took a step towards those mysterious figures, ready to find out what had brought this ancient shadow into their world. The end. Chapter 19. Chapter 20, Dawn of a New Era. The night gave way to the lightning of dawn as the shadows of an ancient threat began to dissipate in the rays of the rising sun. Naruto and Sasuke stood at the edge of the forest, feeling their hearts fill with hope and strength as the first rays of light came. The long struggle they had endured in the shadows had finally come to an end, and new knowledge and trials had prepared them for a new beginning. In the clearing where they met the flickering silhouettes of ancient tragedies, the shadows froze and dissolved into thin air, as if responding to their determination. Naruto looked at Sasuke, their divine eyes met, and in their gazes there was understanding and quiet joy. They knew, together, they could overcome this darkness. Now, Naruko began, her voice full of confidence, "We understand that our strength lies in unity. This experience has shown us that we can overcome any challenge if we stand together, relying on the wisdom of our ancestors and the strength of our hearts." Sasuke nodded softly, his words reflecting deep affection. "We have been through the darkest time, and I know that a bright future awaits us. Together, we will protect Konoha and face new challenges." At the same time, Itachi and Konan, returning from their last mission, felt proud and satisfied with what they had accomplished. Itachi, looking at the horizon, thought about the future of his students. They had gained strength and wisdom that would be the light of the world. Their unity became the foundation of a new era. Konan wrote down the last details of the events in her notebook, feeling that their mission was over, but the journey was just beginning. Her thoughts were full of optimism. "We have created not only a team but a real family, capable of handling anything. Now it is important to pass this wisdom on to the next generation." As the sun rose above the horizon, the people of Konoha felt a change in the air, calm, confidence, and hope for the future. The new bonds forged between Naruto, Sasuke, and their mentors became the foundation for the renewal of the village. Their story became a legend, inspiring the younger generation to greatness and strengthening the community spirit. In the festive atmosphere of the main square of Konoha, a ceremonial gathering was held, at which Itachi gave a speech. "Today we celebrate not only the end of a difficult period, but also the beginning of a new era. Our young heroes, Naruto and Sasuke, have shown that unity, faith, and love can overcome any obstacles. Let their example inspire us all to wisdom and mutual assistance." Naruko felt her heart swell with joy and gratitude as she stood next to Sasuke. She knew that her journey with the Divine Eye had brought not only personal growth, but also a collective benefit to the entire village. Her thoughts flowed with a soft light. I have found more than just power. I have found my family, my destiny, and my place in this world. Together with Sasuke and our mentors, we will create a brighter future. Sasuke looked at Naruko tenderly, and a smile passed between them, full of promise and quiet tenderness. Their union, strengthened by trials, became a symbol of a new era for Konoha. People around them rejoiced and celebrated, knowing that under the protection of such protectors, they could sleep and live in peace. That evening, when the ceremonies had come to an end, Naruko and Sasuke walked out onto the grounds leading to their homes. They held each other's hands, looking at the setting sun, which cast golden rays across the shattered shadows of the past. Naruko's divine eye now glowed with a soft, calm light, a reflection of her inner world, full of love, wisdom, and faith in a better future. Our path will continue, Naruko thought, looking at Sasuke, and with each new dawn we will walk together, protecting the world and preserving the legacy of our ancestors. We are one, and nothing can separate us. The End. Chapter 20. Epilogue, Eternal Union of Light and Shadow. Years have passed since Naruto, Itachi, and Sasuke joined forces to protect the shinobi world. Their lives were full of hardships, but together they overcame everything. Their union, which seemed unusual to those around them, became a symbol of harmony, where darkness and light found balance. As time went on, their feelings grew stronger, and their dreams of a family became reality. They built a shared home on the outskirts of Konoha, surrounded by gardens full of blooming trees and quiet paths. Here they created their own life, filled with love, laughter, and new meaning. The house was spacious but cozy, with wooden floors that reflected the warmth of the home. The living room had low tables decorated with vases of flowers, and scrolls with quotes from their ancestors hung on the walls. The children's rooms were bright and full of toys, which Itachi and Sasuke had made themselves, and Naruto had decorated with brightly colored drawings. They had 5 children. The eldest daughter, Hikaru, resembled her father, with eyes that combined the power of the Sharingan and the gentleness of her mother. The twins, Kaito and Akane, were always competing in the art of ninjutsu, reminding their parents of their personalities. The youngest son, Ren, was calm and dreamy, and the youngest, Miyu, was a real hurricane, mixing the traits of all 3 parents. Every day was filled with warmth. Naruko taught the children new techniques, and Sasuke shared with them the wisdom of Yukiga. Itachi, as the most patient, told them stories about the past, inspiring them to heroic deeds and good deeds. One evening, Naruko, Sasuke, and Itachi decided to spend time alone. The children were already asleep, and they went out onto the veranda. The evening was warm, the air was filled with the scent of flowers. The starry sky shone overhead, reflecting the peace they had been seeking for years. Naruto sat between them, her head on Sasuke's shoulder and one hand holding Itachi's hand. "Who would have thought that everything would turn out like this," she said, looking at her loved ones with a smile. "Sometimes I still don't believe that this is real." Sasuke chuckled slightly. "You know you were the only one who could make us change our ways." Itachi covered her hand with his own. "You didn't just tie us together, Naruko. You made us better." Naruko blushed in embarrassment, but her smile widened. She felt the warmth and confidence that both men gave her. "You know," she said, leaning a little closer, "I love you both so much that sometimes it's even scary." Sasuke turned slightly and looked at her seriously. "We're not afraid, because we feel the same way." He gently took her chin and, without taking his eyes off hers, moved closer, covering her lips with a kiss. This kiss was deep, but gentle, filled with all the feelings that had been accumulating for years. When Sasuke pulled away, Itachi, without breaking the contact between their hands, smiled slightly and slowly leaned forward. His kiss was soft and penetrating, like a promise that he would always be there to protect and love her. Naruko, feeling the heat from both of them, laughed quietly. "You both are my happiness." Their lives were far from ideal, but they made them what they wanted. By raising their children, helping Konoha, and supporting each other, they created a world where love and loyalty became their guiding stars. Over the years, their alliance became a legend, and their children the hope for the future. The shinobi world has changed, but the bond that united Naruto, Sasuke, and Itachi remains eternal, like the stars that shine in the night. That's the end of my story.